because I think a lot of people carry a lot of shame.
Yes.
Like we're afraid of who we are. We're afraid of these emotions. And because it's not talked about enough growing up, we just learn from our parents, we learn from our environment, and we're often shamed when we have emotions that come out wrong.
Yes.
Instead of taught what they mean, their symbols, their flags, their alerts.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined with the incredible Cherri Kulp of UnEarthed Coaching. We're having a great conversation. She's dove into and gone through some certifications to be trained in the area of emotional intelligence, which I like for anybody that's listening, if you aren't dialed in and aware of emotional intelligence and the role it's playing in your marriage, in your parenting, in your work life, I encourage you to reach out to Cherri because this is a game changer.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Talk a little bit, so you talked about self-awareness a little bit. Why do you start there?
It is important to start there because you have to know what you're working with, right? And if you don't understand the emotion that rises up, like say, for instance, if anger comes up and you don't know why, you can't go to manage it. The next step is self-management, right? And so if anger arises, you ask these very important questions. Why are you here? What are you communicating to me? Am I safe? Is this a false reaction, right? And then after that, then you go to self-management, self-regulation, right? And that may look like, okay, there's no threat present, right? Or I'm feeling threatened because this person is encroaching on my space. Or I'm feeling angry because I am being rejected. Why do I feel rejected? And you start having these internal conversations with yourself. So it's very important to be aware. Then you can move on to the next step, which is self-management, self-regulation, and then you can move to the next one, which is about social awareness, right? What is the nonverbal cues that are being communicated to you by other people? And then that feeds into relationship management. How can you use that information that you are gaining from other people, but one information you gain from yourself to be able to maintain a relationship and engage in crucial conversations? So it is all a building block from there.
Yeah, and it's so good, but it requires a lot of courage to dive into emotional intelligence and start to learn about it for yourself. But the information is so powerful because I think a lot of people carry a lot of shame.
Yes.
Like we're afraid of who we are. We're afraid of these emotions. And because it's not talked about enough growing up, we just learn from our parents, we learn from our environment, and we're often shamed when we have emotions that come out wrong.
Yes.
Instead of taught what they mean, their symbols, their flags, their alerts.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, and I was doing some research on fawning, we talk about fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. But fawning has a lot to do when a child is raised in an environment where they had to suppress their emotions and tend to the emotions of those around them, such as their parents or their caregiver. And because of the fact they have not had the opportunity to really understand their emotions or be trained or coached or guided by a loved one on what these emotions mean, when they have the opportunity to be face to face with the emotions, it's scary. We fear what we don't know. And so that's why we continue to suppress these things. And I as you know, I'm the quote queen. So I'm going to drop a quote here from Joyce Myers. She says, just because you bury something alive doesn't make it dead. Right? Just like any zombie apocalypse movie or show that we've watched, it's very hard to kill zombies, right? And so we have to have the skills, the internal infrastructure, the toolkits to be able to understand the emotions that arise up and handle them with care and self-love.
And probably for those who are afraid to approach it, it's addressing that fear, which they're maybe not even aware of.
Absolutely.
Right? They don't want to go there, but there's fear blocking it.
Absolutely.
At the beginning.
Yes, yes. And that fear looks like because we tend to label things like anger is a bad emotion. I don't want to be a bad person, right?
Right.
I don't want to be rejected for having this emotion, right? And so understanding that that emotion is not bad, it's what you do with it. And that's where self-management, self-regulation come into play. You can acknowledge I'm angry, I'm furious, right? But what do you do with that information? That's the important part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a fine line because I think the guilt or the shame comes from what they do with the anger,
Mm-hmm.
and they're confused about, well, it's not the emotion that's the problem; it's what you do with it,
Absolutely.
what you do with the flag, what you do with the signal. If you take that flag, you start beating somebody else upside the head,
Yeah.
then that's a bad thing.
It is. It is a bad thing, and there's consequences that come with that as
Right.
well, right? And when you do the real work, you realize that there are other options, right? There's other outlets that you can use to let that anger out where shame won't have to be present, right? Those outlets can look like sports. It can look like writing. It can look like engaging in volunteer opportunities. It can look like a variety of things. But we have to, one, be able to identify what those resources are. And that's where programs like the one that you offer provides an outlet for individuals such as
Yeah.
the youth to really let out whatever is bothering them.
Yeah, which I mean, some of that is a release, but then some of that is preventative,
Yes.
right? It's actually training your nervous system and training your body, preparing for battle, right? Making sure you're ahead of it.
Yes.
So like what you eat and exercise and all
Yeah.
those things are actually preventative.
Yes.
Because when I'm, little hangry, when I've had a long day, like I can feel the difference. Those things are closer to the top of the surface,
Absolutely.
and I'm in less like I'm not as controlled simply because of the physiological part of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the body keeps score. There's an amazing book that talks about how trauma response and stress, how it's stored in the body and how our body responds accordingly. But what's so amazing about being aware of one's emotion and how it relates to self-management, but also how it relates to relationship management is that by being aware of your emotion, you can maintain healthy relationships and have really productive and engaging conversations. Like, for instance, I had a conversation with someone the other day, say, you know what you said to me made me feel this way, but I realize that I feel this way not because of you, but because of what happened to me in the past.
Wow.
And I don't want to bleed on you, so I'm going to step back and let's circle back about this later.
Man, I think everybody listening is like, I wish I was around more people that had that kind of self-awareness, right?
Yes.
It's really rare.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many people listening right now that are like, they can think of multiple people in their lives that maybe we recognize that it's not us, but the other person, it's like, man, I was just saying hello.
Yes. Yes.
And the perception of me being a threat or whatever, where that came from, that's within them.
Absolutely.
So how do you help people there? What do you do when you have people in your life that they're stuck there and they can't see it? How do you help them see it?
There is power in the pause. I've mentioned this before, and this is something that my spoken word coach taught me before I entered in competition. When I used to compete in spoken word, it's like, don't forget to pause, right? Let them sit with the information that you shared. And there's power in proper questioning, right? Ask them question, become curious. And that question may look like, I'm noticing that you are angry. Can you tell me more about that? How can I support you in this anger? Do you need more time? Things like that is going to allow a space of connection. And also it's going to allow you to lean into empathy, which is also emotional intelligence skill. And so asking those questions are going to allow people to feel more connected and heard, because it's possible that this individual who's displaying these negative emotions may not been heard in the past. And this is an opportunity for them to understand their voice, because that voice may have been stifled years prior to your arrival.
And I love what you just said. That's so powerful because, sometimes we emphasize the other person.
Yes.
I want to fix them. And what you just said is like, if I can get healthy,
Yes.
and if I don't allow their triggers to cause me to escalate and trigger,
Yes.
then I'm in a position of empathy, and then I can offer some salve, some perspective. It will change how I'm perceived, but as soon as I escalate to their level, then I'm reinforcing what they feel.
Absolutely. And there's a proverb that I do appreciate that states, if you argue with a fool, you'll end up like a fool yourself, right? I'm not saying the other person is fool, but you can't match in the same energy with them. You can't mirror them when it comes to a very strong emotion, such as anger. And it's a way to disarm, but also a way to engage. And it reminds me of a time when I was working in the mayor's office, and the mayor and I were walking from an event at the Kroc Center, and there were individuals behind us that was talking a lot of yip-yap about me. And I was very aware of it. My ears they can hear things from 100 miles away, especially when my name is popped up. And so as they were saying all these things, talking negatively about me, I had to recognize what is these emotions that are raising up right now. Rejection, fear, anger. Cherri, what do you want to do with this? You want to deal with this later. And how can you look at this differently? Because if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And how I looked at it was that maybe they have a misunderstanding about who I am and my role in the mayor's office. And so I turned around, put my hand out and say, "Hi, my name is Cherri. How may I help you?" Which completely baffled them, right? I had to get myself together before I can serve others, right? And so that is one of many examples that really pop to my mind when I think about self-awareness, self-management, self-regulation, social awareness, and then relationship management.
That is so good. We got to take a quick break, but I just want to highlight that person had a certain perspective about who you were,
Yes.
but because you were grounded in who you were,
Yes.
you actually got to change their perspective rather than reinforce the wrong perspective.
Right.
So I love that. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back with more right after this. Go to 5starlife.org to get involved.
Hey listeners, loving what you hear? This is just a reminder that you can listen to the 5-Star Life Show with Coach Seth anywhere you stream your favorite podcasts. I'm talking Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. And don't worry, if you're more of a visual learner, we've got that covered too. Head on over to our YouTube channel or find us on our new program platform partner, Your Home TV. It's easy. Just head online and search for 5-Star Life with Coach Seth. Oh, and while I have your attention, we are just weeks away from the launch of our brand new 5-Star Life Parent app. It's going to be full of practical parenting tools and tips geared towards helping your kids live a 5-star life. Head online to 5starlife.org, where you'll find a button at the top to join the Parent app waitlist and be the first to get notified when it goes live. Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth. I am having a blast here with Cherri Kulp of UnEarthed Coaching. Cherri, thanks for joining us and sharing more about emotional intelligence. The last segment, we talked a lot about self-awareness and the power of self-awareness, the power of being able to manage your own emotions and thoughts. And, examples of how you're able to change people's moments and moods and perspectives when we are, we've been talking about this as directors and executives in our organization, as we are the adult in the room.
Yes.
And that's kind of, it's a great way to look at it because, you've talked about this before, it's almost like we drop down to that 8-year-old or 12-year-old self. It's like our true self is diminished most of our lives if we don't understand emotional intelligence.
Yes. Yes. And it's so funny, and I'm glad that you brought that up because whenever Nina, which is my childhood nickname growing up, when she pops up, I'm like, "Okay, Nina, what do you want? What are you trying to tell me here?" And oftentimes I have to tell her the adult is in the room. You can go ahead and color. We'll touch base later. We're going to watch some SpongeBob later. We're going to color later. It's going to be good. But the adult, the one who pays the bills, is in the room, right? So exit stage left. And what I do with my clients is I train them, give them information on how to create that habit of having that internal dialogue, because you have to learn how to master that internal dialogue in real time while you're having that dialogue with someone else. And so that takes skill. It's an art and a science, right? And it requires that pause, right? And I'm sure you've heard or seen people where the most powerful person in the room is the one that's the quietest, right? And oftentimes they're having that conversation with themselves. They're not only being self-aware, but they're socially aware. Who's who in the room. And that's another thing that I've coached my clients on, how to be socially aware, how to be politically aware, and how to build political and social capital based off of the information you're collecting. And that all goes into nonverbal communication, which a lot of individuals are not masters in. A lot of it is because of the fact that we have social media. And I can go on and on and on how that has minimized our need to really learn how to engage and read those cues.
Right.
Because of the 92%, if not more, of communication is nonverbal. It's the inflection in the tone, right? It is the fluttering of the eyes, of the eyes. It's all of that. Are you open? Are you closed to me? And that's how we engage in dialogue effectively, how we engage in crucial conversations. And so when people are not trained in that, they're not going to be able to manage relationships. And a lot of employers are looking for people with EQ skills, high EQ skills, because again, AI is taking a lot of the jobs. And so they're looking to hire people with management skills.
Right.
But if there's that gap, then what? And that's where I come in. And I train and I coach individuals on how to be able to navigate the terrains, the political terrains in any given situation.
So you mentioned the skill and the precision of managing that inner dialogue while maintaining connection and awareness of what they're saying, and the feedback, while trying to navigate your own stuff. And there's some skill to that. Talk about some of the what are the skills? What do you teach your people?
Yes. So a lot of it is first removing the script that was given to them. And we often get this script through labeling, whether it's I was raised poor, so therefore I'm not enough, or I was abused, therefore I should not be treated with dignity and respect. And so first understanding what is that script that was given to you, and then we work through removing that script, and I'm handing them the pen, and they are writing the script to read from going forward. And that is the basis of where the work begins, is understanding that the script that I have had has not worked for me. And so what do I need to do and say to myself going forward to do things differently? And that's where the work begins, is writing a new script. And so that is the first step. The next step is really diving deep into that script, right? Making sure that the words you say are words of life. There are studies out there that state that when we say things over ourselves, our brain don't know if it's the difference. If we say things jokingly like, oh, I'm this, I'm not good enough, or, I'm clumsy, I'm not, this and this and that, our body doesn't know the difference. It's like our body is a genie in a bottle. Your wish is your command. And so how to retrain the vocabulary that we've been using in a way that is that empowers them, that's the next step.
Yeah, using your words, to launch you in the direction you want to go.
Absolutely. Power in life and death is in the tongue, right? The world, and I tell people all the time, especially my clients who are with a Christian background, I said, God created the world with his word. What world are you creating with yours? You have to be very careful with the words that you say over yourself.
And there's so many people that I think and again, I work with such a variety of people, but there's some that are just like, this is a little squishy for me. This is a little like, this is too much. And, the script, like I have to dive into my script. Like I don't have a script. And I would just say, you do.
Yes, you do.
It's like, you do. And we have many scripts.
Yes, we do.
Like there are so many scripts buried that unless you're aware of them, you don't even realize that there's autopilots kicking in, running your life. And you don't realize that it's limiting you or propelling you in good ways and bad ways. Like there's a reason you're succeeding in areas, and there's a reason you're failing in areas.
Right.
For me, an example. So I didn't realize I never met my biological father, who's black, and I have an amazing adoptive father. And so I didn't realize until I was like 19 that I had this script Like I had black friends because I was an athlete, and so I had no problem like interacting with black guys, girls. It was black men, like fathering age, that I had this insecurity because I had a script based on rejection, abandonment, whatever. And it wasn't until I was 19 that I came to awareness, like, I have this anxiety, this low anxiety. It wasn't overwhelming, but I was like not quite myself. And I'm like, why do I feel this when I'm around grown black? What is that about? And I could have, that would stay with me as long as I would ignore it.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's what we often do is we just kind of put our head in the sand or say, no, it's, I don't know what this is. I don't want to ignore it. I'm fine. Instead of like, oh, this is from this. Let's address it.
Yes.
And then, boom, you release it and you're a different person. You rewrite the script. It's transformational for me.
Yes. And another way to look at a script is biases, right? And one thing that we tend to do if we have a negative bias about ourselves, we look for things to confirm that belief about ourselves, right? And it is fascinating what we do to protect ourselves from harm and what we do to protect our ego, to be right, even if that right is wrong, right?
Can you give me an example?
Sure. So let's say, well, I did play sports, so I can't say that I'm not athletic, but let's say I wasn't athletic and I found myself to be clumsy because someone always told me when I was a kid, I'm clumsy. And I try out for a sport and I don't make the team. See? Or I self-sabotage, right? Don't practice enough or don't do what I need to do and then go to show up for tryouts and don't make it. See, I'm clumsy. See? So we look for things to confirm our biases, whether they're good or not.
Man, which then just goes full circle back into what you were saying about the power of words.
Yes.
And from, people of authority, parental figures, grandparents, teachers, coaches.
Yes.
The authority and the influence of parents, teachers, and coaches is massive. It's something that we're trying to address here locally with high school sports, high school coaches, our own coaches, because we're living in the dark ages when it comes to how we talk to kids.
Oh,
I'm not talking about like, I coach kids. I coach them hard.
Yes.
But I'm talking about old school coaching where they're belittling, berating, labeling. That is damaging. It's happening like crazy. Okay. We want to hear from you. So if you'd go to our YouTube page or our podcast and just make a comment, we want to hear topics you're interested in. And you know what? If you're like, man, Coach Seth, you guys are knocking on the park, you have no suggestions, then just do us a favor of clicking the like button and sharing this with somebody else. It's a way for you to kind of share your influence. We're out of time. Thanks so much.